This is Rick from Hiking Emergency Beacon, and today I'm out here to test the Garmin inReach Messenger against the ZOLEO, and I'm also going to give you some information about how well these message back and forth to each other. So that'll all be part of the test today. Let's get right to it, and I'll just let you know that I'm going to be doing a lot of the tests with my phone instead of on the device itself, but I'll just tell you a little bit about each device first, and then we'll get into the messaging test. Real quick, you can see both devices on my strap here. The Messenger is smaller than the ZOLEO. They're very similar products though. The Messenger and the ZOLEO both have SOS and messaging. They also can get you weather. Now, the one thing about the Messenger here, and it's similar with the ZOLEO, right here under this covers SOS, and you can call for SOS for search and rescue teams with that. On the ZOLEO, it's on one of the sides here. It's right here at the top. Again, you open this cap here and depress it for about 3 seconds, and search and rescue teams will come for you. The nice thing about both of these is the search and rescue teams can message you and can find out what situation you're in. Is it a real situation, a real emergency, and how bad it is, and then they can respond more appropriately. Both these satellite messengers have global pole-to-pole coverage, so anywhere in the world you can get service with these satellite messengers. There's a few differences about them though, so real quick I'll just tell you one of the main differences with the ZOLEO is that it will seamlessly switch between Wi-Fi service, cell service, and satellite service. The only thing to be aware of is if you're outside of cell service and Wi-Fi, then you need to have a clear view of the sky with this device, so just be aware of that. The inReach Messenger does something similar, but it does not switch seamlessly from Wi-Fi. It only will switch from cell service to satellite service. One thing that the Messenger does though is it has group texting. Now I don't know if the ZOLEO has group texting, but the Messenger does, and I believe it's the only device, a Garmin device that I'm aware of that has group texting. The other thing that the inReach Messenger has is it has tracking and track back. So if you're lost, you can track back to your starting point and get back to safety. The ZOLEO does not have that feature. I will add that the ZOLEO is basically a dumb device. Other than being able to call for search and rescue, it's a dumb device when not synced with your cell phone. When it's synced with your cell phone, the ZOLEO is a very smart device. Unlike the inReach Messenger, there are arrows on this and an OK button over here, and there's ways to actually message from this device itself. And there's a screen, you can see the messages, you can see the weather, there's information you can get from it. It's a small screen, but it does work. But when you sync it with your phone, then you have the whole large screen, and both of these devices actually make it a lot easier to message on your phone when they're synced. I've tested both of these devices and looked at them in detail, and there'll be information below on those field tests for them, but I'm going to just go through real quick a few things with you. And on the messaging, before we actually get into the test, both of these message when they're synced, and you can see on the screen right here how they look different. They message the same when you hit the bottom or you type in a new message. The letters and numbers show up at the bottom, and it's just as you're messaging or texting at home. They can both also get weather forecasts, and I believe they both use dark sky. So the format looks a little different. It'll be on the screen again, but the information should be exactly the same. I believe you can select SOS from the app itself, so let's just take a real quick look. I'm looking at the ZOLEO right now, and right here on the main screen, you can see it. It says SOS at the bottom, and then it says send SOS, give some information, view my SOS contacts. So the ZOLEO, definitely you can SOS from the app and on the device itself. Let's look at the inReach Messenger now. Okay, on the inReach Messenger, same thing, there's initiate SOS. I'm going to select it. Hopefully it doesn't send the SOS message. So it says warning, and so what you do on this, it says slide for SOS. I don't want to do that, but again, you can get SOS, a call for SOS from the app and the device. I will add that neither of these devices you will be able to see a topo map. They are just for messaging. And these are really great for one main reason. If you can see a map on your phone or another GPS device, but you can't call for help or two-way message or SOS, These are great for that, getting weather, etc., but mainly SOS and calling for help, two-way messaging. I've had some recent experience where we were considering calling search and rescue, but we ended up just messaging, and our group was able to help each other off the mountain. So either way, great to be able to message when you're outside cell service. Trust me, it's one of the #1 things I put on my pack anytime I go out in the mountains here in Colorado. Let's get into this message test, and I'm going to start with the Garmin. I'm going to add real quick, all of my research, all of my experience has shown when you're dealing with two different devices, and not Garmin devices, but a ZOLEO, Somewhere Global Hotspot, Spot, ACR Bivy Stick, any of those, you have to start the message, initiate the message from the Garmin first. And I believe the main reason for this is that the Garmin changes a phone number every day. And maybe it's for spam calls, I'm not sure why. These devices, as I just mentioned, they all have a dedicated phone number. So you can initiate calls, I think, between, say, the ACR Bivy Stick, the ZOLEO, Somewhere Global Hotspot, and it's always going to have the same number as long as you didn't suspend your subscription. If you suspend your subscription, then it's going to give you a new phone number later. But on Garmin, say I had a friend and he had the ZOLEO. I would initiate a call every day, not a call, a message, and I would send it to him. Once that person received the message, then we can message all day long back and forth. But starting the next day, 24 hours, and I can't guarantee for sure it's 24 hours, but I believe it is, I would have to initiate another message in the morning, and then we could message all day long again. But basically every day you have to initiate a message from a Garmin to, say, the ZOLEO. Well, let's go ahead and try this. So I'm going to select message here on my app. I'm going to select at the top a new message, and it's giving me options of my contacts to do this here. I need to double check and make sure I have the contact in for this ZOLEO. On the ZOLEO, I went into about my device and it has the phone number. I need to make sure this phone number is in my contacts list for Garmin. I did not do that before I came out here. Hopefully it lets me put that number in right now. Okay, something was really nice here, and I know this happened with ACR Bivy Stick. When I suspended my subscription, because I don't keep them active all the time or it'll just cost me an arm and a leg, right? It says you will lose that phone number with ACR Bivy Stick if you suspend the account. However, with this ZOLEO, I had this account suspended for months and I just reactivated it today. It has the very same phone number, so that's a plus for ZOLEO. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and get going with this message. So in this case, it's saying, since I don't have myself in here, it's saying system contacts, and I allowed it to get access to my contacts. So now I'm going to arrow down here, or scroll down to my ZOLEO, and I'm going to select ZOLEO. And then it comes up with a new screen with the letters at the bottom. This will all be on your screen here. I'll show it to you as screenshots. And I'm going to put in a message. And then I'm going to time how fast it takes to send a message from the messenger to the ZOLEO. This is inReach Messenger with message test to ZOLEO. I'm going to hit send. Now I'm going to go to my timer here and I'm going to start timing. So it's spinning right now, it's sending it. I have a very clear view of the sky, so there should not be an issue with either one. I've seen in the past where the Garmin will send messages back and forth faster, in my opinion, than other satellite messengers, but we'll just see today if that holds true. It's October here in Colorado, mid-October by the way, and the sun's gone down behind these Rocky Mountains, so the temperature is starting to drop. So if you see me shivering, just realize it's a little bit cool. While this is going on and I'm waiting, I want to show you something. I'm going to take these off my pack. Plus, doing that will give it even more of a view of the sky. But I want to show you just how big these are in a little better comparison when I take the ZOLEO off and I take this connection off here. Okay, the alert just went out that it uploaded. That took how long? That took 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's see how long now it takes. I'm going to go ahead and hit lap. Let's see how long it takes for the ZOLEO to get the message. But while we're doing that again, I'm going to take this off. This piece here that snaps on makes the ZOLEO quite a bit bigger. But I'll just pull this off. You can see it right here. This came with ZOLEO when I bought it. Now, again, while we're waiting, you can see these two side by side. You know, the messenger is a little bit thinner. It's definitely not as wide and not as tall. I would say, yeah, definitely a ZOLEO is a little bit heavier. And I was going to say twice, but it's not twice as heavy. I will put the specs on the screen so you'll see exactly the size difference and the weight difference. But they're both really small, and there's different ways to attach this. You can attach it and just hang it. I prefer to have it strapped more secure to my strap, high up so you get a good view of the sky. But the one nice thing about these two is you can see they have a flat back. So I've seen so much of this with the videos with Garmin they put out. It's like sit it on a picnic table. It's very stable. Same thing here. Sit it on a picnic table. It's very stable. If you didn't want to have it on your pack and you're just camping, then you want to, but you don't have cell service, then you can sit down, message, SOS, whatever you need, and it's a real convenient device. This is fits in your pocket quite a bit easier than the ZOLEO. I say easier. You can tell I don't even have to put it in my pocket, but I will. I'm going to show you this real quick because I've done this with another satellite messenger. When I put this in my pocket, this one goes in, it's like smaller than a wallet. This one's a little bit bigger than a wallet, but they still both fit in my pocket really well. Not a whole lot of difference, just a little more convenience with the messenger being a little bit smaller. I'll also add while we're waiting, there's lights that show up here. Right now there's a light blinking green right here for the on button or the power button. Then here there's a check-in button. I haven't checked in, so that's not blinking. Then there's a message button. So when it receives or sends a message, this will blink. And then if you have SOS, this will blink. There's a check-in button right here. So again, you can get SOS check-in from this device. It's not completely done by itself, but when you sync with your phone, very smart device. Again, the only thing it doesn't do, neither of these do, is to get topo maps. I'm going to add something here real quick, and this may be a reason why the ZOLEO doesn't get the messages as fast. It says right here on my connected ZOLEO device, it says message check interval. Right now it says periodic 12 minutes. I don't like that. Now it says always on. For this message test, I'm going to put always on because that would not be a fair test if this only checks periodically and I set it that way. So then you hit save. There's other things you can do here too on the ZOLEO: device alert volume, message tone, settings, LED brightness, find my device. So there's things there you can take care of. It's been almost 6 minutes since the messenger uploaded the message to the satellites, and so it seemed, again, I think I'm going to be right, that it just takes longer for ZOLEO and some of the other satellite messengers to send and receive messages. All right, I just sent a check-in message. This is not going to send it to myself but my family, and so you may be able to see all these lights blinking now because it's now sending something to the satellite system. So it's working. It's just not receiving a message from myself yet. And I've been checking the settings, whether manual, always on. I'm still not getting the message from the inReach messenger, and it's been over 12 minutes. So I've just got a sound. So there's a check-in, okay, there's a check-in and location share right here. Yep, the right time. It's sharing my location and saying that I'm okay. So it is sending it out. It just hasn't received the message from my inReach messenger yet. This is ridiculous how long it's taking. I'm going to send a different message to my wife and see if it goes through real quick and see if this is an issue with ZOLEO. All right, I'm sending the message right now to my wife. See how long it takes for this to go. On the device itself, there's an arrow up and down on the screen that says it's sending and receiving. So I know this one's working, at least it has in the past. So it's working as far as it's saying it is communicating. Okay, so that message went already, up to the satellite at least, and that took 40 seconds. Now I just have to wait and see if she's got her phone with her, she gets the message and responds back to me. We're going to do another test real quick from the ZOLEO to my wife and see if she gets this message. All right, I've sent that message just now. Let's go ahead and hit lap again. One thing it's not doing at the moment, this isn't showing the mail light as lit. It seems to indicate it may not be communicating. Okay, I just got a message here from my wife. She said she got it. Now this was on the inReach messenger. So she said she got it, and I'm just going to type in thanks. Heading home soon. I just heard another message, and it might be from the ZOLEO. All right, so this is my messenger is working with my wife and her cell phone. This doesn't mean that maybe I didn't mess up with something when I was coming out and getting ready today. This is again why I always stress you have to test. You don't have to. It may be your mistake. Always test your devices before you head out on your actual trip. Because if you're only a few miles away from home, as I am, I'm about an hour away from home, I can get home, call one of these companies, say, hey, what's going on? And change settings, make sure it works, and then go out on my trip. On the right side of these messages, it shows that there's a green check mark that it went out. There's one of them here for my location in February this year that does not have a green check mark, but all the rest do. This test has been running for almost 30 minutes. So there's definitely a problem somewhere here. There's also an icon here that's right next to the date from when I sent this message from the ZOLEO to my wife, and it has a satellite icon. So it is seeing satellites, it's trying to communicate with a satellite. Something's just wrong. And for these two not to be able to communicate to each other, I've never had this happen, and to go on for 30 minutes. So there's evidently a problem here. I'm going to have to finish this test up another time when I can look into this a bit more. It's getting later here and I need to head on home, but I'm not going to wait for another half hour while the sun keeps going down, waiting for these to message. Now, there may have been something I've done wrong. I won't rule that out, but I'm going to have to wrap this test up at another time. I just wanted to come out here and finish this Garmin inReach Messenger versus ZOLEO test I had done. I was having issues messaging between the Messenger and the ZOLEO, and then even from each device back home. What I had found out was that my wife wasn't responding to my messages. She didn't think I was testing, and she was reading a book or something and just wasn't responding. I followed up with some other messages, and I sent them to my son this time, and I sent them from both the Messenger and the ZOLEO, and he received and sent them back to me within minutes, and even shorter than that. So that all worked really well. The problem I was having, and am still having, is messaging between the Messenger and the ZOLEO and vice versa. I have been able to make the ZOLEO work messaging my inReach Mini to my Mini and Explorer Plus in the past. It's not working with the Messenger right now. I don't know why. All I'll say is when you're using different devices, you need to test them. Even the same devices, you need to test them. So I haven't figured this out. I don't know if this is an issue with the inReach Messenger or with the inReach devices, period, right now, when messaging with ZOLEO. Between themselves, they message just fine. So that's where I would say if you're going to use multiple devices, I would either use all ZOLEO or all Garmin or all ACR Bivy, etc. Don't mix them up if you can at all help it. So when I have people come out and we go hiking or fishing, I prefer that we all use Garmin's. You guys know from watching my videos for a long time, the Garmin's are my favorite messengers, and that's what I use when I go out with groups. Well, that wraps up this field test between the Garmin inReach Messenger and the ZOLEO. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll respond to you. And if I need to go back out and retest something in the field, I'll do it. So please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos.